Afternoon to everybody that's joined us live, and good afternoon for everybody that's in presence here. This is a special meeting that's been called by the commissioners, and as I understand it, all the commissioners have agreed that this meeting needs to take place today, as I understand it. Is that right, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The purpose of this meeting is a continuation of our discussion last week. I think all of you know that our Dr. Shell stepped down from the Coffee County and his responsibilities to the county. So we're in the procedures of discussing and reviewing and discovering another person that's got the capabilities to fulfill that position. And this is kind of a new process for me, and so our County Attorney Wade Bowie is here to guide us through this procedure, to make sure that this procedure is done as it is supposed to be done. And so, Wade, I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you kind of guide us through this. I might say, and I probably should have already mentioned this to start with, your chairman of the commission is home, and he's going to partake in this meeting by video or Zoom, or however you want to classify it. So hopefully everything's going well for our chairman, Tom Hugerton. So.
I'm doing fine, thank you.
All right, so as history unfolds, my understanding is this is the second time that anybody can remember that a special meeting has been called in Coffee County, at least from the current governing body. So here we are once again within a week. To kick off the special meeting, I think to make sure we're in compliance with what the law requires, I'll go through a couple things. One is that a quorum of the commissioners requested this meeting. So I think that needs to be placed on the record through each of you. And can you hear me, Tom?
Yes, sir, thank you.
We've already discussed that, I think, briefly before you come in.
Oh, okay.
And all of us acknowledge that we called the meetings.
Okay. And then another important distinction is that the chairman called the meeting, which would be Tom. And is that accurate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I did. I'm just letting Don kind of run it as I'm back here, so.
Sure. And then that the commissioners had sufficient notice, and I think that's reflected by each of the commissioners being present either in person or by audio video capability. And the other issue is notice, and notice of this special session. Notice of this.
Sorry.
I'm not sure that's on the agenda.
Yeah. Notice of this special session was sent out yesterday to, I believe, all of the required individuals who have requested to receive notice. That was done by email by the county clerk, and I have a copy of the email that's dated December 1st, 2020 at 4:52. In addition to that, there was a clarification notice email that I sent out this morning that I'll go ahead and state what it says, just so it's further clarified on today's record, I guess. And I'll just read it. To all, for further clarification and notice, the agenda for today's special meeting is specific to the following. Special meeting, local health officer / medical consultant to health department. Below that, the Board of County Commissioners for Coffee County will convene as the Board of Health for Coffee County to discuss the local health officer, CKSA 65-201. The time and date, Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020 at 1 p.m. and location, basement of Coffee County Courthouse. Meeting place for regularly scheduled commission meetings remains the same. No other topics will be discussed at the special meeting. At the conclusion of said special meeting, the Board of Commissioners for Coffee County will convene at the regularly scheduled time and date next Monday, December 7th, 2020 at 9 a.m. That was the additional clarification or notice that was sent out. So at this point, the only thing that can be discussed, as I mentioned last week, is what the special meeting topic has been described as. And at this point, I request that the board move to convene as the County Board of Health pursuant to KSA 65-201 for the purposes of discussing the vacant local health officer position, and that being at, I don't know what time, but at
106 right now.
1:06.
Entertain a motion. Bob has moved. Fred is second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
Tom, did you oppose or did you agree with it?
I did agree.
Okay. Your vote was delayed, so I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, okay.
So at this point, under KSA 65-201, the county commissioners of the county, when they are serving as the local board of health, have the authority to appoint a person licensed to practice medicine and surgery, with a preference being given to a person having the training in public health who shall serve in an advisory capacity to the county board of health and as the local health officer. So it's my understanding after the inquiry was done, Dr. Shell stepped down last week. We have a local physician who has agreed to at least be considered by the commissioners as the local board of health to assume the duty of local health officer as well as medical consultant to the health department. So for today's purposes, I'm going to introduce Dr. Sloyer, and I think the board can inquire of Dr. Sloyer. I think one of the things he'll mention is that he is a person who meets the qualifications as licensed to practice medicine and surgery. He's affiliated with Coffee County Health Systems. So without further ado, I'll turn this over to Dr. Sloyer.
Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Yeah, I wasn't prepared to talk, but I'm certainly can entertain any questions you guys might have. If you guys want some history, I mean, I'm from around Wichita, Kansas, down in Derby. Went to school there, high school, went to Wichita State for my biochemistry degree, went to KU up in Kansas City for my 4 years of medical school, went to Salina, did 3 years for family practice, and I came here in 2004, so I've been here about 17 years. Been in healthcare for about 25 years. So actively involved. We've just got done, my youngest kid is in high school. I've got 2 kids in college. One's hoping to go on to medical school, may come back to our area as a doc maybe in about 10 years. I've got my oldest son is in nursing school at Baker University. He may also come back to this area. So yeah, that's kind of my history. I've never served as a director or health officer at any level in the government. So this would be my first time doing that. But I kind of know how the health department works here. I've been actively involved in their immunization program as well as their women's clinic and birth control, things like that, since I've been here for about 17 years. So I understand that part of it for sure.
Well, I think all of us here probably already know you. We know that you've been around this area for a long, long time, and you couldn't come in any more qualified nobody else can come any more qualified than what you bring to the table. And we certainly appreciate you stepping forward and requesting the opportunity to fill that position that Dr. Shell stepped down in. So, I don't know if anybody has any specific questions or not that you'd like to ask.
No, I fully recognize his credentials and have known of him for some time.
Is there any reason to go into any more details, Wade, if there isn't any specific questions?
So the one thing that I'll mention is Dr. Sloyer, my understanding, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, there's been sort of a mini dialogue between he and I behind the scenes. Historically, when Dr. Shell had the position, it was he volunteered for the position. And that was for at least 15 years, according to what Dr. Shell said. Now, my understanding is historically, as the local health officer, the utilization of that position has been minimal over the years. And that would make sense for the volunteer, although I think compensation could have been requested by Dr. Shell. However, 2020 hit and COVID-19, which has sort of changed the rules all across the state, all across the country, including Coffee County. And as I stated previously, I've talked in 2020, over the last 9 months, I've talked to Dr. Shell more than I've talked to any doctor over the last 10 years. And that's because I help with different local orders and sort of guiding, directing on particular legal issues to aid and assist the local health officer as well as the commissioner. So with Dr. Sloyer, I think he needs to have some time in the position, if that's what the board so chooses, to determine and make to determine what the needs are for his time requirement, and then come back before the board to see what type of compensation determination needs to be made. Right now, not knowing what it takes, I don't think that puts him at an unfair advantage. And right now, the necessity to get somebody in the position to assume that role and duty, in my opinion, outweighs the financial payment structure, if that's what we call it. So is that a fair representation,
Yeah.
Dr. Floyer?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of things in our community on a volunteer basis. I'm not necessarily seeking compensation, but it was discussed that maybe we would reach out to other local counties to see if their medical director gets compensated. I don't know. I don't know if they get compensated or not. I mean, if the going trend in Kansas is to compensate the medical director, maybe it's considered. I don't know how much time is going to be needed for this position. I don't know. We're in stressful times right now. This pandemic's a mess, as you guys know. I do think maybe in 6 months to 12 months, it's going to settle down. It's got to, I would think. And, maybe it won't be such a time commitment. So anyway, but I'm not asking for compensation up front, that's for sure. I think we just do it on a trial basis and see how it goes.
I think we all recognize the high priority of getting somebody in that position. Dr. Clark is, I'm sure Lindsay's here, because, we're not told to shut down on the services they can provide, but we've got to get open back up to where that our health office can provide the services they provide to our county citizens, just unreal.
Sure.
And so we've got to get back in that position, the quicker the better.
Right, I recognize that being the director of the health department, part of it, as far as overseeing what they do over there, that's what I recognize as a quick need. We got to get immunizations for the kids and the birth control and some of the things that they're doing as far as labs. We got to get that back up and rolling. So that's the easy part. And like I said, I'm not necessarily seeking compensation. If you feel, if these guys want to look out to other counties in Kansas and see what the going trend is, if you feel like this position is worth compensating, then that's up to you guys. But I'm not necessarily asking for it.
But right now, we don't know what's out there either.
I don't know.
What sets a precedent for us. So, sometime in the next week or two or month or 6 months, we need to, if you come on board, we need to do some discovery and see what is.
Right.
See what is out
That's
there.
fine. Yep.
That's my opinion. Lindsay, have you got anything you'd like to speak and come forward? Because you're the important part of this, you and your team's the important part of our health department.
Well, thank you. I will just say that we've had a great working relationship with Dr. Sloyer through the years. When we put a call out to physicians asking them if anybody wanted to step up and help us in our women's clinic when we had the retirement of our previous physician's assistant, he was one that stepped up and has stuck with it and quite often refers patients to us. And having been in our office and seeing how we operate, he knows how we work. So he's a natural choice for this. And we appreciate his time and commitment to the community. So he's already been great to access and quick to respond. And we've already kind of talked some things through. So if he is approved today, I think we're set in a really good spot by having him volunteer to do this, whether compensated or not. So we did reach out to Osage County because we know that they do contract these services, and right now I believe the number is $2,800 what they pay their medical consultant, who does not act as health officer also. But we do historically know that their wages are considerably lower than what coffee counties are for even hourly employees. So that's the only example I know right offhand. But again, allowing some discovery time might be a good answer for that.
You know, that's a figure you mentioned last week, 2,800.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and other than that, we don't know of any out there. Some of them's probably doing it for nothing, like Dr. Shell was, and some of them's probably being compensated
And I
to the
know
point.
through COVID grants, there has been new money made available to compensate that. So, you know, it's an option. So I know more people are doing it now that there's money available. So, but we'll entertain whatever it is you guys want to do. So, but we welcome him aboard if he's approved. Looking forward to it.
Tom, we know you're on video. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask at this time?
First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Floyer for wanting to take on this role. Sounds like he's been directly involved with the health department quite a bit already anyway. The only thought I have on the top of my head is that maybe somewhere down the lines, just to maybe that's a Wade question, whether we ought to write up some sort of contract between he and us to where, you know, I know maybe it's not important right now to do, but so we can get the health department out of rolling. But if that's more something Dr. Sloyer would be comfortable with, having a contract of some sort, or maybe that's, again, we're in uncharted waters, and it's just the only thought I had in my mind, so.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any comments, questions? If not, Dr. Sawyer, we certainly appreciate you coming forward. And I'm gonna ask Wade, what's our next procedure?
So,
Thank you, Don.
thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, don't run off yet.
So the next step is if the board is comfortable moving forward with Dr. Sloyer based on what's been presented, then there needs to be a motion to appoint as the local health officer pursuant to KSA 65201. That's one of the duties and responsibilities of the local board of health. And I think that could also contain, because it is also tied to the medical consultant role with the health department, I think it would be most appropriate to make that motion include both. And then from there, if that occurs, then there's an oath that would have to be administered to Dr. Sloyer to assume the responsibilities of that position. And that's also a statutory requirement.
We have a written motion on that.
Part of a written motion. Move to appoint Dr. Sloyer as the local health officer pursuant to KSA 65201 as the local board of health, and to also include the responsibility as medical consultant for the Coffee County Health Department.
Chairman, I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Bob. We got, Bob is so moved, Fred is second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor of Dr. Sawyer becoming our local health officer, covering the local board of health and the medical consultant for Coffee County? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I got you, Tom. Aye. Motion opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
Okay. So at this point, I believe the county clerk would administer the oath of
I was gonna
office.
ask you how quick that took place.
You want to stand up here, and you might want to face the camera, I guess.
Turn around.
Where's the camera?
Raise your hand. Go raise your right hand, please. Do you, Dr.
Right hand.
Do you, Dr. Jeff Sawyer, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Kansas and faithfully discharge the duties of Coffee County Local Health Officer, so help you God?
I will.
And I'll have you sign.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome aboard. Thank you. What's our next step?
So the next step is, now you have to get out of being, sitting as the county board of health. So unless you have anything else that needs to be addressed as it relates to the local board of health, someone needs to move to recess as the county board of health and reconvene as the board of county commissioners at whatever time it is.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. Jim has made the motion to recess and we'll reconvene at 9 o'clock Monday morning.
No.
Reconvene as the board of county
Okay,
commissioners right now.
reconvene as the board, okay. as the
I'll
Board of
second.
County Health. Thank you. Tim has moved
I'll second.
and Bob is second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say.
Thank you, Doc.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
So now you're back as the Board of County Commissioners. The specified topic that was set for a special meeting today was, I believe, covered. Just to maybe handle a little bit of information that I saw was posted by one of the media outlets. There was an article that referenced our local health Lindsay as assuming the role of that position temporarily. I think that was not accurate. I think it was part of a global discussion in which Lindsay was going to take on looking for potential candidates. So just to clear up that misinformation. But I think outside of that, there's nothing else that can be discussed in this special meeting. I don't think can go any further, so I think you need to adjourn this meeting, and then the regular meeting has been scheduled for next Monday.
Okay. This special meeting has been held here today. We'll adjourn at 1:23.
Jeff, we're swallowing. You got it, can you?